Shadows on the Stars is the second book in the Great Tree of Avalon series by T.A.Barron.Child. Of the Dark Prophecy was the first book, and The Eternal Flame the last. Shadows was published in October 2005. Plot summary. In the previous book, Child of the Dark Prophecy, the evil sorcerer Coleridge made a pure crystal of Elano out of the water from the white geyser of Crystalia. Elano is the most powerful substance in Avalon and is known for its power to create life. At the beginning of Shadows on the Stars, the wicked spirit Rita corrupted this pure crystal of Elano and thereby transformed into an antimatter-like version of itself, called Vengelano, which destroys whatever it touches. Facing this danger, the three young heroes, Tamwin, Ellie, and Scree, must push their abilities to the limit to save Avalon. Tamwin must somehow find and relight the darkened stars of the constellation Wizard's Staff. Ellie must seek the crystal of Vengelano and destroy it. Scree must confront his greatest mistake, which nearly cost him his life and the staff of Merlin, to help defeat Rita Gao's army. Tamwin, accompanied by Henny the Hula and the small, winged creature called Batty Lad, leaves Avalon's root realms, the 7 familiar sections of Avalon, home to the greatest diversity of life forms, and enters the trunk and is separated from his friends. He discovers, among other things, growth rings of the tree that tell its history, places where giant termites dwell, and the Ianawan, whose once glorious society has become a dystopia. When living with the Ianawan, Tamwin learns that if a wreath of mistletoe were to appear among them, the one to whom it appeared would become the leader. While leaving the Ianawan to continue his travels, Tamwin finds such a wreath and leaves it with his former host, because, as a rule, humans think of trees as being wooden. The description of Avalon's trunk as being essentially made of stone and consisting of such topography as exists in our real world creates some ambiguity. In Avalon's tree world, a knothole becomes a valley, and the outside of the trunk becomes similar to a cliff, or to a mara, though Avalon's surface is less steep than Amara's. In or near Merlin's knothole, Tamwin meets Ethorn, a blacksmith and the sole survivor of his father Crystalus's expedition to the stars. Ethorn shelters Tamwin, reforges Tamwin's broken dagger, brings him to visit Crystalus's grave, and gives him a globular compass. Tamwin eventually discovers the stars that illuminate Avalon, occupying the niche held by the sun in our world, and the niche held by the stars of our night sky, are doors of fire that lead to other worlds including ours and the spirit's other world. To rekindle the constellation Wizard's Staff, Tamwin must shut the doors of which it is made. Ellie, accompanied by Nuic, Shim, Brianna, and a priest of the order to which Ellie belongs, called Lleu, seek the aid of the water dragons. When the aid comes slowly, they leave via the portals that link the 7 root realms, mistakenly to the realm Malik, where they learn that Ellie's former tormentor Linnea is part of a eugenic, genocidal effort to impose human rule. Escaping from Leona's clutches with the help of a gnome whose life Ellie had saved in the previous book, they continue with greater urgency. In a dream created by Tamwin's magic, he and Ellie meet on a cloud. He gives her a half-finished harp in replacement of the one he broke. In exchange, they kiss. Scree returns to Ranawan, the realm of his birth, and learns Eagle Folk clan called Braumkai is destroying other Eagle Folk. Having experienced their cruelty firsthand, Scree attacks the renegade clan alone. He has previously met their leader, Quinikia, who had seduced Scree to seize the magic staff only. When he understood this, Scree had fled. On returning, he watches as Quinikia's son challenges and kills her for leadership. Scree immediately challenges and kills him. On her last breaths, the dying Quenneca reveals that Scree is the father of the warrior whom he has slain. Ashamed of himself, but cognizant of necessity, Scree takes the leadership of Bram-Kai. Characters in Shadows on the Stars. Tamwin, a young man who has for the majority of his lifetime lived in the realm of Ranwon with an adopted brother, Scree. He has suspicions that he might be the Dark Child, as he is 17 years old and seems to think there is a hidden darkness in him. His name means dark flame in the language of the Flamellans, his mother's people. His father is Crystallus, Merlin's explorer son. Although they have never met, Tamwin seeks to follow in his father's footsteps by traveling to the stars. Even before learning of his father's identity, has feelings for Illyriana Lalokanelli, a young trainee at the Society of the Whole. Her parents were killed in gnome raids. She was herself kept in slavery for the majority of her life, clinging to the only remnant of her parents, a harp made by her father that was accidentally destroyed by Tamwin the first day they met. After escaping shortly before the events of the first book took place, she goes to the Drumadian compound to become a priestess, hoping to follow in her father's footsteps. Her memories continue to haunt her. Has feelings for Tamayon. Nuic's faithful Marith, one of the diverse creatures voluntarily bound in partnership to Drumadian priests and priestesses. He is an old creature, are often referring to ancient events at which he was present. He is a small pinnacle sprite, a rotund mountain dweller whose color changes according to his thoughts and emotions. He is often sarcastic and impatient, though he is wise and witty. Nuic is said to have been the Marith Taria, daughter of the Drumadian founder, Kulwij, and evil sorcerer who desires to gain totalitarian control of Avalon. He especially hates Merlin and wishes to rid Avalon of that wizard's image. He is shown to be a servant of Rita Gore. Kulwij is known as White Hands, due to the fact that he hides his battle-scarred body beneath a cloak, allowing only his perfectly white hands to show. His plan involves the creation of a dam by which to capture the water of Giza Crystallia, wherein is Elano enough to make a crystal. He plans then to corrupt the crystal, making it a thing of destruction rather than creation. Having done so, he is reduced to Rita Gore's second-in-command, Brianna, a young elf from Illyrian who is captured by White Hand's arms master, Harlech. She is forced to work on Kulwij's dam. Later, Kulwij blackmails her into stealing the staff Onuli from Scree, who has been its keeper, by threatening the life of her grandfather Tresemir. Brianna obeys, fearing to lose her grandfather. She meets and befriends Shim, a giant who has become dwarf-sized under the influence of a curse. Brianna, having stolen Onuli, is betrayed by Kulwij. She later abets the destruction of his dam. Brianna accompanies Ellie on the quest to destroy the Crystal of Vengalano. It is implied that she has feelings for Scree. Scree, an Eagleman who is Tamwin's half-brother, becomes leader of the Eagle clan. Has feelings for Brianna. The supporting characters: Shim, a giant who has been reduced to the size of a dwarf, not once but twice, having grown to giant size in between. He is as old as Avalon itself. Shim is a friend of Merlin's, encountered first in the lost years of Merlin. In Child of the Dark Prophecy, he befriends Brianna. Shim always speaks with a particular mannerism, distinguished by his haphazard use of suffices and his use of synonymous adjectives such as certainly, definitely, absolutely in trios. He calls Brianna his niece. Henny. Henny is a hula, a mischievous, reckless, comical person who sees life as a game. He enjoys seeing people become frustrated irritated or hot-tempered, because they are then excited and therefore appear absurd to him. He fulfills this liking by joining the traveling group consisting of Ellie, Nuic, Linya's Marath, Phelan, and Tamwin, whom he teases relentlessly. Penny, for his part, becomes more sober as a result of his experiences of violence and danger. Although Tamwin presumes him dead after their involuntary separation en route to the stars, it is implied at the end of the book that he is still alive. Linya, a priestess of the Society of the Whole. Linya is excessively arrogant, egocentric, and anthropocentric. She torments Ellie constantly and abuses all whom she meets, except the gardener Hanwan Bellamere, who is as anthropocentric as she despite his gentler demeanor. Later, she joins the anthropocentric movement Humanity First, which seeks to impose human rule on all non-human life. Batty Lad, a small, green-eyed, bat-like creature who joins Tamwin. Batty Lad is happy-go-lucky, cheerful, and talkative. He speaks very quickly, with a tendency toward colorful language. His origins are implied to be of great significance. Although Tamwin presumes him dead after their involuntary separation en route to the stars, it is implied at the end of the book that he is still alive. Rhiannon, T.A.Barron's reinvention of the Lady of the Lake, Rhea, as she is sometimes called, is vital, optimistic, friendly, humorous, courteous, compassionate, wise, and skilled in magical arts. She is very much in touch with nature, though at times she surrenders to her frustrations. She is Merlin's sister and Tamwin's great-aunt. Crystalis Eopia, though he did not actually take action in the book, Crystalis was often mentioned. Son of the wizard Merlin and dear woman Halia, Crystalis was a great explorer who died on his greatest expedition, the journey to the stars. He never made it to the stars, and it is said that he mostly died of grief for the wife and child he thought he lost. The Lady of the Lake revealed to Tamwin that Crystalis was his father in Book 1. Death McCall, an assassin and master of disguise, poses as a jester to infiltrate Ellie's party. Later reveals himself only to fall to his death. Oliwan, though not named until Shadows on the Stars, he is quite prominent in both books. Appearing several times, he is a mysterious bard whose knowledge of the status quo far exceeds that which he chooses to reveal. He is notable for his broad, white beard, for his skills of music and poetry, and for the creature called a museo, which dwells in his hat. This creature possesses the most musical voice of all voices in Avalon. The 7 root realms. The Great Tree of Avalon splits into 7 roots: air root, mud root, stone root, water root, fire root, shadow root, wood root. Each is named for the primary component of its environments.